High-explosive anti-tank warhead. A high-explosive anti-tank, HEAT, warhead is a type of shaped charge explosive that uses the Monroe effect to penetrate thick tank armor. The warhead functions by having the explosive charge collapse a metal liner inside the warhead into a high-velocity superplastic jet. This superplastic jet is capable of penetrating armor steel to a depth of 7 or more times the diameter of the charge, but is usually used to immobilize or destroy tanks. Anti-tank rounds. Contrary to popular belief, heat rarely reaches above 600 degrees Celsius and is incapable of melting treated steels, which can easily withstand temperatures of 1,400 degrees Celsius. It is the sheer pressure from the explosion that pushes through the armor, projecting inside the tank a blast of copper fragments from the liner that was holding the charge together. The explosion pushes and reshapes the copper liner, and this is what actually penetrates into the armor. However, this armor-piercing technique was portrayed in the Quran 1,400 years before it was discovered. Quran. You will be bombarded with projectiles of fire and copper, and you shall not be victorious. Projectiles of fire and copper. Today we know this is an armor-piercing technique. You shall not be victorious. This is in combat. Fire that doesn't burn. In the story of Abraham, he was thrown into a fire that doesn't burn. Skeptics claim that whoever wrote the Quran made a mistake. There is no such thing as a fire that doesn't burn. Today scientists discovered cold plasma, a fire that doesn't burn. It can even freeze stuff instead of burning them. Non-thermal plasma. A non-thermal plasma, cold plasma or non-equilibrium plasma is a plasma which is not in thermodynamic equilibrium, because the electron temperature is much hotter than the temperature of heavy species, ions and neutrals. As only electrons are thermalized, their Maxwell-Boltzmann velocity distribution is very different from the ion velocity distribution. When one of the velocities of a species does not follow a Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution, the plasma is said to be non-Maxwellian. A kind of common non-thermal plasma is the mercury vapor gas within a fluorescent lamp, where the electron gas reaches a temperature of 20,000 K, 19,700 degrees Celsius, 35,500 degrees Fahrenheit, while the rest of the gas, ions and neutral atoms, stays barely above room temperature, so the bulb can even be touched with hands while operating. Cold plasma can freeze stuff instead of burning them. This was known recently, however this was portrayed in the Quran 1,400 years before it was discovered. Quran. We said, O fire, be cold and safe on Abraham. In this verse the fire is cold and safe. Today scientists discovered cold plasma, a fire that is cold and safe. Highest speed in freefall. Terminal velocity is the highest speed that can be reached during a freefall. For a skydiver the highest speed that can be reached is 195 km per hour. It is portrayed in the Quran that some birds can catch a man in freefall. Skeptics claim that whoever wrote the Quran made a mistake. No bird can overtake a skydiver at 195 km per hour. Today we found a bird that can reach 389 km per hour, easily overtaking any skydiver. Terminal velocity. Based on wind resistance, for example, the terminal speed of a skydiver in a belly-to-earth, i.e. face-down, free fall position is about 195 km per hour, 120 miles per hour, 54 meters per second. This speed is the asymptotic limiting value of the speed, and the forces acting on the body balance each other more and more closely as the terminal speed is approached. In this example, a speed of 50% of terminal speed is reached after only about 3 seconds, while it takes 8 seconds to reach 90%, 15 seconds to reach 99%, and so on. Skydivers have a terminal speed of 195 km per hour, however there are birds that can easily overtake any skydiver. The peregrine falcon reaches terminal speeds of 389 km per hour, and the golden eagle reaches terminal speeds of 240 to 320 km/h. So these two birds can easily overtake any skydiver in a freefall. They also turn out to be raptors, flesh-eating birds. This was known recently, however this was portrayed in the Quran 1,400 years before it was discovered. Being true to Allah, without associating anything with Him. Whoever associates anything with Allah it is as though he has fallen from the sky, and was snatched by the birds, or was taken down by the wind to a deep place. Was snatched by the birds. These birds are attacking humans, which means they are flesh-eating raptors. But to catch humans in midair they have to dive faster than the skydiver. Today we know that there are two raptors that can easily overtake any skydiver.